Krita is a free open-source art application for Windows, Mac, Linux, and even Android. In my opinion, it's by far the best free option out there, and it's better than most paid art apps as well. Although Krita is 100% free, it would be wise to donate to support the development if you want this software to be around for the long term. Krita's development team is very forward-thinking and innovative. In many respects, Krita is raising the bar on what can be done to advance digital art software. While it's much more technical than some of the other art apps out there, it can be customized to be more user-friendly. Krita is a powerhouse of creative tools. You can make drawings and paintings, create vector art, animate, and much more. There's a lot Krita can do, and new features are added regularly. In this course, we'll just focus on getting started with Krita using the tools and features I feel are the most essential for making art. Let's begin. When you first launch Krita, you will be greeted by a new document dialog. Let's just choose A3300 from the list of preset sizes so we can move on to some initial setup. The default layout is difficult to use because it's not well organized for art and it conceals a lot of useful features. So before we do anything else, we'll need to create a better layout. To make this quick and easy, I have provided a layout file you can import if you have the paid version of this lesson. You'll need to follow the installation instructions provided with the lesson. If you're going to set up the layout yourself, everything you see here can be found under Settings, Dockers. You may need to resize these panels to fit your display if it's larger or smaller than mine. The next most important thing to set up is your drawing tablet. You can use Krita with a mouse, but you'll have a more natural experience using a tablet with pressure sensitivity. Press B or select the brush tool and choose the basic 5 size brush from the brush presets palette on the left. Select a gray color in the color selector on the right and try drawing on the canvas. Hopefully you'll be able to make a mark and your cursor aligns with your pen tip. If so, then try to use light and heavy pressure to vary the line width. If that's all working, then you can skip the next step. If your tablet isn't working properly, go to Settings, Configure Krita, and look on the left under Tablet Settings. Under Tablet Input, choose the appropriate option. You can choose between WinTab, which includes Wacom and similar brands, or if you're using a Windows pen-enabled device, then you might want to set this to Windows 8/Windows Ink. Restart Krita for the changes to take effect. If neither of those settings get your tablet to work in Krita, I have a troubleshooting video you can watch with more solutions. You can find links to these reference videos in the written transcript of this course. I also recommend that you watch my free reference video about how to draw on a tablet, because that will go in depth into how to set up and use your tablet. Now that our tablet is working, we can create a new canvas. I can click on the New button in the Properties bar in the top left, or I can go to File, New. Let's start by looking at the canvas dimensions. This defines how large and what shape the canvas will be. There are a few key settings to consider when creating a new canvas. The width and height determine the size of the canvas, and the resolution determines the clarity and quality of the image. Currently, the unit of measurement is set to pixels, but you can also choose inches or something else. If you're planning to print your artwork, inches is the most common choice. On the other hand, if you're creating artwork for the web, pixels is the better option. For now, let's switch the unit of measurement to inches. It's important to choose a canvas size that matches standard print and frame sizes, such as 4x6, 8x10, 11x14, and 18x24. This ensures that your artwork fits the paper or canvas you're using for your print. If the size of the image doesn't match your print size, you'll either have to crop the artwork or add a border around it. The new document window offers several preset canvas sizes to choose from, and you can also create custom preset sizes to use in the future. I've included some with the paid version of this course that you can install. There are also project-specific templates with preset sizes for animation, comics, and more. I'll choose 8x10 at 300. That's a standard 8x10 inch print at a standard 300 ppi for the resolution. There's more to learn about resolution in digital art, so be sure to check out my reference video on that topic. In the top right are the orientation buttons. You can use these to swap the width for the height and rotate the canvas orientation. Let's make this canvas wide. On the bottom of the new artwork window, you can see the canvas dimensions in pixels and preview the RAM usage. Under color, you can select a color profile. Since I am using a Cintiq display with a wide color gamut, I can show more colors than sRGB provides. By choosing Adobe RGB, I can unlock more colors to choose from when I paint. The downside is that the artwork might not look as vibrant on a different display that only supports sRGB. If you click on Content, you'll get more options for your canvas. There are lots of options here, but the only one I want to point out is the background color. This is the bottommost layer, and you may prefer it to be a light gray or something other than a bright white. You can change this in the Layers panel as well. I want mine to be a light gray. After that, click on Create to create that new canvas. Because we already had a canvas open, you'll see two tabs at the top of the interface. You can use these tabs to switch between multiple open documents. I'll close the leftmost one since we don't need it. Let's use the Save button in the Properties bar to save our demonstration canvas so we can reuse it. I'll just call it Blank Canvas 8x10. After that, I'll close that document so we can see the welcome screen. When no documents are open, the welcome screen appears. This gives you quick access to your recent documents, as well as the New Image and Open buttons. I'll also mention that you can open saved artwork and access your list of recently opened projects from the File menu as well. I created a document that is 10 inches wide by 8 inches tall, which now resides inside of the Krita interface. You can imagine that Krita's user interface is like your desk. You have some of your tools on either side, just like you would if you were working with traditional media. You can grab your paper and move it around your desk. You can also rotate the angle of your paper or canvas. And because you are working digitally, you can even zoom into your composition to look at it more closely, or you can zoom out to look at it from a distance. If your tablet supports multi-touch, that will make navigation feel much more intuitive. I'm using a display tablet that supports touch, so I can easily manipulate my canvas with my fingers, but you can do all of this navigation without a touch screen as well. We'll take a look at how to do that shortly. Just like your desk, Krita's user interface is able to be customized. If I don't like my color selector panel to be here, I can simply drag it to the other side of my screen. I can rearrange many of the items in the Krita interface to suit my workflow. I can even make the panels larger or smaller. Try to find the balance between the interface being easily visible to you while conserving space for your canvas. If you've made any changes, you can go to the Window menu and Workspace, New Workspace to back up your layout. This way, if something gets messed up, you can easily restore it. If you find you are constantly moving the panels by accident, you can lock them with the lock icons. Now that we've created a canvas, let's learn how to navigate Krita in the next lesson.